An Eastern Conference matchup in the USL Championship featuring two teams with some top young talent in the league. It's Atlanta United 2 and it's the Swope Park Rangers coming up next from Kansas City. Well, the cloudy skies have parted and it is a gorgeous day in Kansas City, Kansas at one of the jewels in American soccer, Children's Mercy Park, where the Swope Park Rangers will host Atlanta United 2 alongside Matty Lawrence. I am Carter Augustine, and Matt, this is going to be an exciting matchup featuring some top young talent here on display today. Yeah, it really is. We've got some wonderful players here. We've got some older pros out here, and we've also got some kids who have grown up through the academies at both Atlanta and Sporting Kansas City. Obviously, it should be a great matchup and a really good game to watch this afternoon. One of those top young players is on display for Atlanta United 2. Andrew Carleton slotting into the starting lineup here today for ATL. Yeah, just 18 years of age, but already played 11 games for Atlanta United. Granted, only 2 of those were starts, only 229 minutes of MLS football, but this kid's got bags of talent. Played in 5 games for the under-17 to the 2017 World Cup in India, and a good player to watch as well. Love the fact that he's got his hair in a bun, he's got his orange boots on, and he's certainly going to be a player to watch for many different reasons this afternoon. Brings some flair and some flash to that Atlanta United 2 side. Meanwhile, for the Swope Park Rangers, their line will be led by a man who's had a bit of a whirlwind weekend, Wilson Harris. Yeah, we were nearly hit by whirlwinds and tornadoes here in Kansas City yesterday. Wilson Harris was called into the Sporting Kansas City lineup, an extreme hardship loanee, so he was on the bench yesterday. Today he'll be leading the line. Scored a lot of goals for Sporting Kansas City's academy, really trying to find his feet, find his way with Swope Park Rangers. Not prolific yet, but I'm sure his time will come. 2 exciting prospects on display in the starting 11s for these 2 teams here today. Who will be starting with them? We'll get you the starting lineups and kick coming up next as the Swope Park Rangers face Atlanta United 2. Welcome back to Children's Mercy Park. Alongside Matt Lawrence, I am Carter Augustine as the Swope Park Rangers getting ready to face Atlanta United 2. Let's take a look at the starting lineups, starting with the visitors. And head coach Stephen Glass making 3 changes from the 1-1 draw against the Bethlehem Steel. In come Andrew Carleton, George Campbell, and John Gallagher. But the captain in the midfield of the team is who you're looking at, Matt. Yeah, Jack Metcalf, born in Liverpool, an English guy very much like myself.
kind of a journeyman USL player, spent a season back in Wales with Bangor City as well, but he's going to bring a bit of experience to the middle of midfield for Atlanta United, surrounded by a lot of youngsters really, barring Ruthven, the 30-year-old playing at number 2, the centre-half.
Meanwhile, for the home side Swope Park Rangers, 5 changes for head coach Paulo Nagamura from their 5-1 loss against Nashville. Poolskamp, Smith, Rad, Harris, and Gideon Zalalem coming into the starting lineup.
Yeah, Zalalem, a very good player, as we know, grew up within the Arsenal Academy. He's really trying to fight his way into the Sporting Kansas City team. Let's see what he can do today. He'll really want to have a real authority on the match in the middle of the park.
Of course, if someone knows about patrolling the middle of the park, Children's Mercy Park, is this man, Paulo Nagamura. In his second season at the helm of the Swope Park Rangers, he's made, again, 5 changes, trying to get back to a good result here at home after a tough one on the road in Nashville. And a beautiful day here in Kansas City, Kansas for some soccer. We are underway between the Swope Park Rangers and Atlanta United 2. Swope Park Rangers going from right to left in their blue strip with orange trim. There's the headman Stephen Glass for Atlanta United 2. Matt Lawrence might know him a little more familiar than most.
Yeah, I know him very well. I played against him when he was playing for Watford back in the Championship back in England. Began his career in Scotland, obviously a Scottish national, but very good left foot he had as a player, and he's a really good young coach as well. Looking forward to making his way in the game here with Atlanta United 2.
Atlanta United 2 in the white with the peach trim, peach numbers. And they're going from left to right, trying to press Swope Park Rangers high up the pitch there, but it'll trickle out of bounds for a goal kick for the Rangers, and a goal kick for John Poolskamp, making his second start of his young professional career, and he was the man manning the posts for Swope Park Rangers' only victory so far this season.
Yeah, and he looked very confident in that game. It was his debut, as you say. He's only 18 years of age, spent some time at the LA Galaxy Academy, moved over to Swope Park Rangers and Sporting Kansas City's Academy, but he looks assured, 6'2", only 18 years of age, as we've mentioned, but pretty cool, pretty calm, collected there at the back, pretty decent with his feet as well, which we know Swope Park Rangers enjoy. Paulo Nagamura certainly wants that from his goalkeepers.
Made 5 saves in that win against Louisville City. Late winner here at Children's Mercy Park for the Rangers.
Look, he's a young goalkeeper, so mistakes are going to be made. But at 18 years of age, he's still got probably another decade in front of him before he hits his peak. So he's got a long time to make mistakes and learn from them. But as I say, in that debut, he looked very assured indeed.
Here's a loose pass in the back, and now it's in behind for the Rangers. Still alive and put home! Felipe Hernandez is on fire for the Swope Park Rangers. His 4th of the season and a dream start for SPR.
Yeah, it's a magnificent start, just 2 minutes into the game here. A bit slack at the back from Atlanta United too. But look, never for one moment did I think that Felipe Hernandez was going to miss this. He's the one who makes the vital interception and just calmly slots it home. Wonderful start, but now it's up to Swope Park Rangers just to imagine it's still 0-0. Forget about the fact they've just taken the lead. Pretend that it's 0-0 and go again.
And for Atlanta United 2, we'll have to try and avoid being shell-shocked here on the road in Kansas City. That giveaway in the back and straight into the back of their net inside the opening 3 minutes for Atlanta United. And this is a team that has listed their starting lineup as a 4-4-2 this game, the past couple of games, but perhaps not exactly what we'll be seeing from the visitors here today.
No, I don't think so. It was listed that Andrew Carlton would be playing up front, but we know he doesn't tend to play up front, very much likes to play as a number 10. Plays off the centre forward, Joseph Samuel, who's playing in that number 9 position today. And he'll very much be looking to get on the ball, Carlton. He makes things happen, whether he's playing for Atlanta United or Atlanta United 2. Really classy player.
Or as you mentioned in pregame, for the U.S. youth national teams. Making his 6th start of the season for ATL 2 here today. As they try and get back into the game here, back in midfield with another loanee from the top club, Anderson Asiadu. And here's a good pressing work from Jerome Mbakele, who looked like might have lost the chance for the Swope Park Rangers on their goal. Only for Felipe Hernandez to follow up and get back on the ball. Here he is, spreading it wide left for Mbakele. Cuts it back onto his right foot. Through the legs and still alive with the Swope Park Rangers. There's Felipe Hernandez, who has been ever present in this SPR side over the past couple of years. And now Wilson Harris striding forward. 96, playing as the number 9 here today for the Rangers. He draws a foul.
His second outing of the weekend almost. I know he didn't get on yesterday for Sporting KC, but it's certainly on the bench. It's a poor challenge there from George Campbell. He was obviously part of that giveaway for Atlanta United that led to the goal for Swope Park. Only 17 years of age. This is where these guys want to make their mistakes. Playing for Atlanta United too, really growing into their professional careers. Not too much pressure on them in some of these games.
Some pressure now on Dylan Castanera as he has to deal with this free kick situation. A couple of guys in the wall for Atlanta. Hernandez over the ball and Alexander towards the back post, and it's a header that's an easy save for Dylan Castanera.
Mbakele very much unmarked at the back, but couldn't get any power on that header.
Mbakele, young Cameroonian. I really like at this wing position. This one's kept in play by John Gallagher. Trying to get it onto that right foot, stands up across towards the top of the box, and Will Little will just see this one out. There's John Gallagher playing as a right back here today for Atlanta United too, listed as a forward in their program.
Yeah, certainly in his collegiate career at Notre Dame, he played as a centre forward or a wide player. Scored over 30 goals in his 4 years at Notre Dame. Came into Atlanta United. I think he's drafted number 14 in the 2018 draft. But yeah, very much being manoeuvred from a forward position into that right back position. I think his height, I think his stature very much suits the right back position. And he certainly doesn't mind getting forward. That's what he's used to. It's all about the defensive attributes that he needs to learn.
Of course, he finished with a team best 6 goals last season as well, John Gallagher, for this Atlanta United 2 side. And these are two teams that have struggled for scoring this year. See if they can rectify that here today. Here's Carlton moving into space in the center of the pitch. He'll leave it behind with a nice drag back for Metcalf. This one gets through, and now sent up to the back post and just headed out of play there by Alexander.
Yeah, John Poolskamp was crying out to Alexander to leave that. No way Alexander could leave it with Andrew Carlton in behind him. Had to head it off for a corner, first corner of the game to Atlanta United too.
Yeah, rather safe than sorry there from the left back Alexander, just putting this one in behind. So Atlanta United 2, and it looks like Mikey Ambrose coming over to take this from his left back position. He'll curl this one in towards the near post. Headed away nicely at the front post by Felipe Hernandez, all the way back to the center circle, and Metcalf will have to retreat all the way back to Castanera.
Yeah, he took up his position at the near post very well there, Felipe Hernandez. Doesn't need to mark anybody there, but he just needs to make sure that if any corner's under hit, that he gets a decent header on it. And he certainly did that there. Wasn't a great delivery from Mikey Ambrose.
Good first touch, plucking it out of the sky, Carlton, and then sending it over the top along the left wing for Luis Fernando. Fernando in behind now, and Little with a good tracking run against Ambrose, and then it's played out of bounds by Mark Segbers. There's a little bit of the flash and the skill that you can see from Andrew Carlton on display.
Yeah, he took the ball out of the air fantastically well there, and it wasn't just about his first touch either, it was the pass out to Fernando as well. I think you're looking at somebody like Andrew Carlton to really take the game by the scruff of the neck, really kind of make it his game. It's up to him to dictate the game from the centre of the park, kind of playing as a number 10 really, but he wants to get on the ball as much as possible.
Alexander looking for the run of Gideon Zalalem. Running behind the back line. There's a tug of the jersey, but not for nothing for Tyler Ruthven, who shrugs Zalalem off and starts this Atlanta United attack. Up top now for Joseph Samuel, and just a bit of a miscommunication between he and Jack Metcalf there. Samuel making his second start of the season and second start in a row as well. 21-year-old from Atlanta. Here's Harris. Good post up and a turn with a flick of the head, and now Will Little will sprint away down the right-hand side. That pass behind Hernandez, but Riley's there to pick it up. Now Alexander, he loves to get forward. Curls in a wonderful cross for Harris. Inside the area, Harris, that shot's deflected and it's out of bounds over the top of the goal for a corner kick. Some good work here from Alexander getting it into Wilson Harris.
It is, it's a great ball in. There, if he was really confident with his right foot, he'd have swiveled and hit it with his right foot. Drags the ball back onto his left foot. It's a decent strike, but deflected behind. I want to see him have confidence in his right foot there, Harris. The opening had come on his right foot. But you're right, Carter, it's a great ball in from Alexander.
Here's a corner in towards the back post, still alive in the box. Graham Smith challenging for that one and couldn't quite trouble the goalkeeper, Dylan Castanera. 4 days shy of his 24th birthday. Leaping up and making the claim there for Atlanta United 2, but a decent set-piece opportunity there from the home side.
Yeah, it really was. It's been a good opening, 10 and a half, 11 minutes for Swope Park Rangers. Paolo Nakamura will be very happy with the opening phase of this game. Of course, we're only a ninth of the way through the game. He'll expect Swope Park Rangers to keep this up.
Ambrose continuing his run down the left-hand side, trying to get some space for a cross, and Will Little blocks that one, so it'll be the second corner for Atlanta United here.
Swope Park Rangers certainly not the biggest team out there, which I think is why they're leaving 2 men forward as well. It means Atlanta United have to leave 3 men back. You never want to leave yourself 2-on-2. You always need that extra defender back. Also, Wilson Harris coming back to defend, the big centre forward.
Corner in towards the 6 is a good delivery. Camden Riley is there to head it away. And Zalalem with the calm pass out to Mbakele. He tries a big switch of play. Will Little just can't judge that bounce correctly, so Atlanta United able to get back and defend.
Yeah, it's a wonderful ball swept out towards Mark Little from Mbakele. Little did really completely misjudged it, let the ball bounce over his head.
That allows for this change of possession back at the feet of Atlanta United 2. There's a good touch from Gallagher around Mbakele. Now Gallagher continuing his run into the center of the park. He'll hit a first-time pass out for Carlton, who's found some space on the right. A couple of step-overs from Carlton. Well defended by Alexander. He blocks the cross and keeps it in play as well.
Yeah, really good defending from the young left back there on Andrew Carlton. Wasn't fooled by the step-overs from Carlton. Kept his eye on the ball.
That time, Ruthven not fooled by a little turn of the hips from Wilson Harris. So back again with Atlanta United. On 11 points, Atlanta United trying to move up above the playoff line here today. There's a good first-time flick from Carlton. Gallagher towards the area, and the captain, Graham Smith, back in the starting lineup here for the Swope Park Rangers. And Gideon Zalalem asking for a card from the referee as he had gotten the slip there on Jose Hernandez. First real glimpse at Gideon Zalalem in this game for the Swope Park
and it's
Rangers.
a really good first touch as well, Carter, with the inside of his left foot, just fooling Jose Hernandez completely. Nothing Hernandez could do about that apart from pulling back. Yes, it's a cynical foul, but I agree with Hernandez. It is his first one. You don't want to see the referee really bringing yellow cards out this early in the game. Certainly unless the challenge is particularly poor.
Maybe just a little too far back in his own half to be a professional foul as well, from Zalalem claiming for that yellow card there. not given by our head referee, Michael Radchuk. Here's a foul against Mark Segbers.
Yeah, and I think because Hernandez didn't get one seconds ago, I think that's why Mark Segbers doesn't go into the referee's notebook there either. I think it's sensible refereeing from Michael Radchuk, who's another man who was on show yesterday, Carter. We were here for the Sporting Kansas City game, and so was Michael Radchuk as the fourth official.
Did double duty this weekend in Kansas City, Radchuk. And now working it over to the left-hand side. Ambrose curling it in towards the 6. It's over the head of everyone and trickles all the way out to Mbakele. He's got Alexander charging ahead of him, and he'll find the left back. Back now with Mbakele. As Mbakele looking for the run of Little, asking a lot of Little. Can Little get there? Just kind of stuttering and stopping and starting there. He wasn't quite sure, and it trickles out of bounds.
I think maybe if he'd gone for it from the outset and not stopped, he may have caught up with that, but certainly that's not exactly where Mbakele intended to strike that crossfield ball. Certainly was asking an awful lot of Will Little.
There's a poor clearance and a hand up from Castanera in towards the head of Little, but his header goes out towards the sideline, which just lets the Atlanta United goalkeeper off the hook a little bit. Graham Smith putting some pressure on Carlton, and that forces a turnover. Mbakele. Good shift to the feet, looking inside for Zalalem, and just a little too over hit there from Mbakele. You can hear Samuel calling for it, wanted the return. He stumbles a little bit, gets back to his feet, and retreats with Luis Fernando. It's a decent pass in behind, but a tight decision goes against the forward, number 10, Josef Samuel. That one must have been tight for our near side AR, with the line held by the Swope Park Rangers. Fans follow the Rangers and the rest of the USL Championship all season long on ESPN Plus, home to the USL, MLS, UFC, and more. Join the over 2 million sports fans who have already discovered ESPN Plus and watch the championship live every week. Sign up today at espnplus.com. Holskamp confident on the ball in his own area there, and the Rangers confident in possession as they build it around the Atlanta United 2 press. And now Alexander bombing down the left wing as he's known to do. That left wing has been a good partnership for the Rangers this year. 2 players brought in over the offseason, and Alexander in particular, the 20-year-old Brazilian, has really stood out this season for SPR.
I like the look of Alexander at both ends of the field, Carter. He loves going forward with that trusty left foot of his. He's got a great engine, but also in one-on-one defending, as we saw him defending against Andrew Carlton a little bit earlier. He's also a very good defender as well. 20 years of age, certainly a lot of promise.
He's got a goal as well. 10 chances created, which is second on the team from his left back position. Alexander, there he is, challenging and winning a foul deep in his own half. Well, we are in the 18th minute here, and there's an injury along the back line. One of the veteran leaders for this Atlanta 2 side, Tyler Ruthven. And now Alexander not feeling too well himself. He looks to be in a little better shape than Tyler Ruthven. Didn't really see what happened with Ruthven here.
No, I'm with you on that, Carter. I didn't see what happened at all to Tyler Ruthven, but you're right. He's 30 years of age, very much the elder statesman out on the field today. Tyler Ruthven very much looking to bring along George Campbell, the left centre-half playing alongside Ruthven, who's only 17 years of age. He's in the side for his experience, obviously his quality as well, but he looks in quite a bit of pain here.
Yeah, he was pulling at his wrist taping there as though he thinks his day is done. There's some frustration behind.
His day is done, Carter. I agree with you. He wouldn't have removed that tape for any other reason. Certainly isn't happy at all, is he, Carter? He's almost struggling to get to his feet.
Yeah, looks very frustrated. And gingerly walking back towards the Atlanta 2 bench, and I think that's going to spell the end of the afternoon here as Atlanta 2 preparing a sub. And Again, the oldest player on the pitch here, Tyler Ruthven, the leader in the back, the center half, making his 4th start of the season, the Alpharetta, Georgia native, and it's only going to last around 19 minutes here. He'll be replaced by Lawrence Wyke, Englishman who's coming off his first professional goal this past weekend for Atlanta 2.
Yeah, it was Englishman to Englishman. I think Metcalf got the assist and White got the goal.
And that 1-1 draw against Bethlehem Steel. So that will be the replacement, but for the time being, Atlanta 2 playing down a man as Ruthven has to head towards the locker room here. Hope all the best for the center back for Atlanta 2. Again, didn't see really what happened to him. Didn't seem like anything in the run of play was contributing to that injury. That might have been an off-the-ball situation.
Yeah, it must have been. We certainly didn't catch it. We know that our cameras didn't catch anything at all either. And certainly the way he was looking, the way he was acting, his body language, he thinks it's something quite serious. I wonder whether he's maybe pulled his hamstring or something like that, but he didn't look at all happy. Ruthven, as you said, gingerly walked off the field.
Well, it's a decent replacement. Lawrence Wyke, the 22-year-old from Bolton. And he's made 8 starts on the season, coming in for his 2nd sub appearance. And now Atlanta 2 getting a nice pass over to the left-hand side. Luis Fernando. Oh, he tried to an Elasco move. Now he's got a nice little spin move in towards the area, and he wins a corner for the visiting side.
Yeah, Zelalem did very well to come over there and cover his defender.
Looks like he's trying an Elastico here. Doesn't go right, but there's some good improvisation on the back end of that dribbling move from Luis Fernando.
It was certainly not quite how he intended to get past Rad, but he did nevertheless.
Here's the ensuing corner kick over the head of everybody in the area. Harris looks up, sees he's got plenty of time, so lets this one come into his feet, and he'll get it to Mbakele, who's trying that exact same pass from the last corner situation. This one doesn't quite come off for Jerome Mbakele.
Well, Mbakele, and we know that he's got it in the locker. I think that's the 3rd attempt now that he's been sweeping it very much from left to right. Over to Little on the far side. This one didn't quite reach its intended target.
Looks like that might be from the training ground as well. You pointed it out, Matt. Those 2 players, Mbakele and Little, just staying high up the pitch, hugging the sidelines.
Well, I think it's as you say there, Carter, because Mbakele knows that Little's out there on the far side, really hugging the touchline. He knows that the left fullback is going to be tucked in a little bit, so he knows there's a little bit of space. If he can just get it over the head of the left back, Little's in acres of space.
There's a foul against George Campbell. He didn't like it, but I think this is a good spot from the referee, and it's a yellow card on the youngster. His tough afternoon continues here in Kansas City. George Campbell, and it was just a stray hand into the back of Wilson Harris's head here. Maybe not a hand, maybe more than that.
That's very much the elbow. I get that we are all centre halves. I'm a former centre half. You do jump with your elbow, you lead with the elbow, but certainly you don't lead with it whacking into the back of the head of the opposition centre forward, in this case Wilson Little. I think that was a good spot for Michael Radchuk. I think if he'd got up early and used his elbows to lever himself up, then that's fine, but certainly not to go through the back of Wilson Harris.
Harris will rub his head here, and he's actually going to go stand right on the penalty spot as Hernandez and Alexander stand over this free kick. Hernandez clips it in for Smith. It's over him, and that header is up in the air, still in the box. And now Harris will be adjudged to have fouled the Atlanta United back line.
Yeah, and I think that's the correct decision. Again, from Michael Radchuk, our referee, it was a foul by Wilson Harris. They've got 3 very good headers of the ball. Swope Park Rangers, in Camden Riley, obviously Graham Smith and Wilson Harris himself. The balls that have been delivered into the box in the set pieces have been pretty good as well.
Here's Zelalem just nipping in at the heels of Metcalf, and oh, excuse me, that was Wyke, the newcomer onto the pitch, and just about gets away with that one along the back line of his defense. Nervy moment for the substitute there.
Yeah, it certainly was, but will give the substitute a little bit of leeway. He's trying to play himself into the game. There's no way he's expecting to come on this early. Whether he's even completely properly warmed up, who knows? It certainly didn't look like it there. But yeah, it's going to take him a few moments to get up to the pace of the game.
Here he is with a nice stretch to get that ball under control. He is confident on the ball, Lawrence Weick. He's second on the team in passes. So you see that along the back line for Atlanta 2 here after coming on the pitch. There's Fernando, who gets the Elastico right this time, but the cross is over the head of the lone man in the box, Samuel. Alexander. McKaylee, and just can't quite keep that one in play. He likes the one-on-one challenges, Mbakeli, and Paulo Nagamura told us that he wants Mbakeli to run at players because that's where he's at his best.
And you see that he has the confidence as well, Mbakeli, not only to sweep the ball from right to left or left to right, but also to go one-on-one against defenders. Full of confidence, Mbakeli. He's got a bit of trickery in the lock. He's certainly got a lot of pace as well.
Second on the team in minutes so far this season, Jerome Mbakeli. He's got 2 goals, which is second as well, and he leads the team in shots. Here's Harris causing some havoc up top again, Wilson Harris.
Yeah, Weick's had a not quite disastrous, but certainly not a good opening couple of moments on the field since he's come on as substitute for Tyler Ruthven. Once again, gives the ball away.
So it sets up another set piece here for Swope Park Rangers. These are starting to pile up for the Rangers, and they've all been in this decent area away from goal as well.
Yeah, Graham Smith attacks the ball very well.
Really been looking for him on a few of these set pieces. Wearing the captain's armband again here. This time, Alexander will try and curl it. Again, looking for Smith. It's not the most confident of punches. Still alive on the edge of the 18. Mbakeli will pick it up. One-on-one. Trying to get past Gallagher. Well defended by the right back. Should say attacking player turned right back, and he didn't show that at all in that particular instance. Looking like a right back born and bred there, John Gallagher, to snuff out the danger of Mbakeli.
Yeah, he's got a good low centre of gravity, does John Gallagher as well. He looks very quick over the opening yard or two as well. Very much the match for Mbakeli there. But they'll have done their homework, Swope Park Rangers. Paulo Nagamura will know that John Gallagher is very much a makeshift right back or a right-sided forward player being converted into a right back. He'll have told Mbakeli exactly that, and to go at John Gallagher one-on-one.
So far, Gallagher standing up to the challenge. Clever back heel. Hernandez opens up Segbers, trying to prod it in behind for Harris. Gets to it. Clips it back now in the area. Little still alive. Segbers! Oh, just wide of the near post. Beautiful flowing move from the Swope Park Rangers.
Yeah, it's a great move and wonderful forward play from Wilson Harris as well. Gets onto the ball, Harris. Does the right thing, just cuts it back. As the ball falls to Segbers, though, 17 yards out, he has to hit the target there. He's got to make the Atlanta United 2 goalkeeper work. That's in all the way as well. If he just hits it a yard, or not even a yard, a foot to the left. Unfortunate for the right back, Mark Segbers there. Hitting the ball with his unfavoured left foot. It was a decent strike, but would fully expect to get that on target.
As you said, looked like he had Castanera beaten at his near post there. Mark Segbers, a St. Louis native, coming over in the offseason and leading the team in minutes this season, the Swope Park Rangers. Just around 650 coming into this game. Second on the team in passes as well, the former Wisconsin Badger. And there he was trying to open his goal-scoring account with the Rangers, but still 1-0 here in Kansas City. Gallagher in towards the 6-yard box. Smith able to get that one clear. And Alexander just pokes that over the toe of Metcalf. And Mbakeli. Zalalem luring in the challenge from White. He gets one challenge from the sub and then a second. And that'll be a yellow card for Lawrence Weick. Straight into the game, straight into the referee's pocketbook.
Well, I think now we can call it disastrous. The opening few moments that Lawrence Weick's been on the field. He's given the ball away twice. Now he's picked up a yellow card. Been on the field possibly 4 or 5 minutes. It's a good move from Zelalem as well. Just outthinks Wyke there, just moves the ball the outside of his right foot past Wyke, forces Wyke into the foul. It is cynical, it probably is a yellow card. Certainly Michael Radchuk thought so. Wyke now has to be very, very careful.
That means both center backs on yellow cards for this Atlanta United 2 side. See if that plays a pivotal role here. We've played just over half an hour. Children's Mercy Park, Swope Park Rangers leading through an early goal from Felipe Hernandez. Here's Hernandez finding some space, and now finding Will Little. Little with a nice turn of pace to charge it to the box. He'll try and clip it back towards the 6. It's blocked out of play for a corner. That's the second corner on the afternoon, and a good bit of play there from Will Little. Yeah,
really good play from Will Little, but I think that's good defending from Mikey Ambrose as well in the end, because he cuts off the pullback. He knows that if Will Little plays the ball across the goal line, that the goalkeeper's going to swallow it up. It's a great burst of pace here from Will Little, but here you see as well.
Get back to that in just a second, because the corner now has been taken, flipped over towards Graham Smith. Well, that's a hefty challenge into the back of Smith. He wanted a foul, but the header not at all going to trouble goalkeeper for Atlanta.
But again, it is Graham Smith attacking those corners, isn't it, Carter? We've said it a couple of times now. This is that Will Little piece of good play, and then Mikey Ambrose just holds him up as well, prevents the pull back into Zelalem's feet. Number 24 there we see running into the near post area.
Good to see Mikey Ambrose getting back from his injury struggles. Got a right knee problem and started and played 45 minutes in Atlanta 2's last game, that 1-1 draw against Bethlehem Steel. Making his second start of this season for ATL 2.
Yeah, it's a shame. He'd made 9 appearances for Atlanta United in the 2018 season. 8 of those were starts as well before he picked up that knee injury. Good to see him back out there on the field, but it's going to take him a good couple of months to get up to speed with Atlanta United 2 before hopefully he can progress back into the Atlanta United side.
Here is opposite fullback. John Gallagher does well. He's closed in by about 4 blue shirts there. Manages to draw the foul. Ball was rolling, so Jack Metcalf can't pull a fast one on the referee there.
That's good. That's good. Right there. Blue, back up.
Look at this one. Back into play now. Wyke trying to... That's a good effort by Gallagher. I was just going to say trying to play him in. That was asking a lot, and John Gallagher does keep it in play, but can only really get a touch on it, and it trickles back to John Poolskamp.
Certainly see those attacking instincts, don't you, in John Gallagher? If you can really get the defensive side of that right big back position fully worked out, I think he'll be certainly a decent fullback. Maybe hasn't quite got the trickery or the pace maybe to be an out-and-out right midfielder, right winger at this level, at the Atlanta United level. So it looks like Frank de Boer's tried to convert him into a right back. Obviously Stephen Glass here, the Scottish manager of Atlanta United too. I'm sure that Frank de Boer and Stephen Glass have discussed this between them. But he hasn't been found out defensively yet, Gallagher, and he looks very good going forward, as you'd expect for a converted forward.
Campbell dribbling into pressure there, and it's a late challenge from Mbakele. And you can hear Stephen Glass asking for a yellow all the way from the Atlanta United 2 bench.
Again, all you want from a referee is to be consistent, and you'd have thought that that Mbakele challenge probably warrants a yellow card if some of the other challenges we've seen.
Campbell himself on a yellow, and he was asking the referee for a yellow on this challenge. Not at all near the ball there, Mbakele.
Incredibly clumsy challenge, and certainly could have warranted a yellow card. Michael Radchuk didn't think so on this occasion, but Mbakele, next time he makes a foul, he'll be in the notebook, that's for certain.
Good bit of play there from Riley to drop it back with Smith and then hit the one-time pass over to Alexander. Here's Smith just dropping that in over the head, and that's a wonderfully worked pass from Mark Segbers. It's opened up a counterattack for the Rangers. Good challenge from Campbell, but it's only stopped the danger momentarily because Hernandez picks it up. Slow it down here on the right side. Little faking the cross back now with Segbers. Segbers being urged forward by Little. He gets there, puts in a first-time cross that glides all the way through the box, and McKaylee does well to keep it in play back with Alexander. Some good build-up here from SPR. And McKaylee again trying to step over, and again is seen too well by John Gallagher.
It's a good bit of play though from Swope Park Rangers, Carter, isn't it? Got Mark Segbers, the right back, involved, works the ball to the left-hand side, and then McKaylee lays it back to Alexander, the left back, both forwards up in attacking positions. You'd never guess that this is a Swope Park Rangers side that's only won one game this season. They look full of confidence. All the players are incredibly comfortable on the ball. They all want the ball as well.
Very composed in possession here today, the Swope Park Rangers, which of course has been their MO over the past couple of seasons. Trying to emulate the style of Peter Vermees and his Sporting Kansas City side.
We know that's the way they want to play, but it's easier said than done sometimes when you're losing games of football and conceding lots of goals as well, as the Swope Park Rangers have done this season. Conceded 22 goals in their 8 games so far, this being their 9th game of the season. Virtually 3 goals a game. I don't look lacking in confidence though. Sometimes it's hard as a young player, Carter, when you've been losing games, to be full of confidence, to really demand the football off your teammates. But all the guys out there seem to really want the ball, demand the ball.
Making it hard on Atlanta too all game, and here they are again with the nice pressing work. Alexander wins it back high up the pitch. Zalalem trying to slip him in. Harris tackled away by Wyke, and it looked like there was some danger looming for Atlanta too before Lawrence Wyke was able to snuff it out, and then a foul in the midfield, and Atlanta can breathe a little bit here. Select is the official ball supplier of the USL Championship and many of the finest leagues in the world. Since 1947, Select has been the leader in soccer ball quality and innovation. For the latest Select products and special offers, please visit selectsportamerica.com. Left side, Ambrose selects to pass the ball forward with Fernando. He gets space for a cross, and there's the young center back, Kaveh Rad, making his first start of the season. He's just played 5 minutes all season, Kaveh Rad, the 17-year-old. Here he is defending at the near post.
It's great defending at the near post from Rad. Has to meet that fully head on, heads it behind for corner. I think Mark Segbers has to do better though, trying to stop the cross. Didn't get close enough to Fernando.
So it'll be another corner for ATL2. Here it is, up towards the 6. Samuel got there, and he tried to flick it backwards towards goal, and it winds up floating over Poolskamp's net, landing on the roof of the net. Might have just come off his back there, Joseph Samuel.
I think it did, Carter. I think you're correct. I think he just tried to flick it on, didn't he? Maybe to a teammate or goalward. Had Lawrence Wyke right in behind him as well. They do look quite dangerous from corners, Atlanta United.
Poolskamp with a heavy thwack on the ball as it goes up past the center line. You can see Jack Metcalf imploring his team to get in the game here, captain for Atlanta. This one comes off Gallagher, and it'll be another throw as SPR will slowly advance up the pitch. Again, SPR, just 1 win on the season, 5 points through their first 8 games. This is a team that's used to being in the playoffs, despite playing a ton of academy players throughout their history. Very young team this year, perhaps the youngest that the Swope Park Rangers have had in their 4 seasons. Currently in 17th in the East, but have played just the 8 games. Most teams have played up 10 or 11 so far.
You'd always want those points on the board, Carter, but that's for sure. They've got 2 or 3 games in hand on most of the other teams. If they can put a string of results together, they'll slowly move up the league table, that's for sure.
So early in the USL season, Harris was just about in the way of Campbell's pass, but here's a good move from Atlanta, perhaps their best of the game until Carlton upset with himself because that one is over the head of everyone and out of play.
He's struggling to get into the game, Andrew Carlton, and I think a lot of that is down to the good play from Swope Park Rangers. They've been in possession of the ball an awful lot. The defenders and the midfielders are finding it hard to wrap the ball into Carlton. He's been really well marshalled by Camden Riley, who's playing as the holding midfielder for Swope Park Rangers.
It's a second-round pick for Sporting Kansas City out of the University of the Pacific, Camden Riley. Didn't wind up signing with SKC, but did get a contract with the Swope Park Rangers, making his 7th start of the campaign, and really seems to be growing with each of his professional outings, Camden Riley. Here he is playing as more of the number 6 role, but we've seen him at center back as well.
I think that helps as well, that he can play in a couple of positions, and I think he does them both pretty well. I think, looking at him, I prefer him in the number 6 position. He does look very comfortable on the ball, and he is defensive-minded as well. It's almost natural for him to protect the 2 centre-halves in behind him.
What a ball out that is from Pulskamp. It's straight into the path of Will Little. Twisting and turning, and he's in behind here, Little. He'll turn back inside. Finds a good ball for Zelalem. Zelalem goes for goal. It's a good save from Castanera, still in the attacking third with the Swope Park Rangers. Riley back with Alexander. He'll go for goal, and it's up and over. This was a good chance for the Swope Park Rangers, and Zelalem elects to go for goal here.
Yeah, it's great wing play once again from Little. He's doing very well on that right-hand side. Great first touch from Zelalem. I think he has to go across the goalkeeper there if he's going goalwards. He's gone for the near post area. Makes it too easy for Castanera just to stand big and strong, and he beats it away with his right shin or his right foot. Always taught as a youngster, hard and low across the goalkeeper. Then if the goalkeeper makes a save, the rebound falls out to a centre forward. Just the wrong option, in my opinion, by Zelalem.
Carlton cutting across the middle of the park, and now Ambrose getting forward from the left back position. That's a good cross, but Smith is there to meet it with his head when it looked like Carlton may be pouncing in behind him.
Attacks the ball so well at both ends of the field, does Graham Smith. This time at a defensive end, never frightened to put his head in.
Good bit of play from Ambrose, lifting it over the head of his defender, now continuing his run, and Luis Fernando upset with himself because he plays that in behind the run of Ambrose, not a play. Be sure to tune in on Wednesday, May 22nd at 7 p.m. Central Time for Wednesday Night Soccer as league newcomers Birmingham Legion take on Nashville SC. It's the week's best match on Wednesday Night Soccer, May 22nd at 7 p.m. Central Time on ESPN News. And apologies to everyone in Birmingham, Alabama. I'm sitting next to an Englishman here, so I pulled out the Birmingham there. Obviously, here in America, we pronounce it correctly.
I wasn't coughing or spluttering for any reason there, Carter, I promise.
Birmingham Legion being led by Jay Heaps in their first season in USL Championship. Of course, the Swope Park Rangers also playing on Wednesday night at 7 o'clock against Memphis, another new team involved in the USL Championship this year. And there's a dangerous tackle by Alexander, and he will go in the referee's notebook. It's a yellow card on the left back for the Swope Park Rangers.
I think that one may be a little harsh on Alexander. And Bakali's challenge moments ago was certainly a lot clumsier and a lot worse, a lot more malicious than that one was from Alexander.
Take another look at that one. Alexander looked like he might have got to the ball there, but on the follow-through, getting in on Jack Metcalf.
Certainly a little harsh on Alexander, but he needs to be careful himself now.
Careful here, protecting himself in the wall. He's the lone man, and Jack Metcalf clips it in over everyone. Samuel is livid with the referee inside the box. He thought that there was a foul. Still having a chat with head referee Michael Radchuk.
Yeah, there's certainly a few choice words that we heard on our pitch side microphone from Samuel. wasn't happy with it at all, and Michael Radchuk weren't happy with the words coming from the mouth of Josef Samuel towards him. As you see there, it's just tell him to button it.
This is what Samuel is complaining about on this last free kick. Doesn't look like there's much in that.
No, I don't think so. It looks as though there's a little coming together of legs between Harris and Samuel.
Nothing given by the referee, of course.
Yeah, and of course, when a centre forward falls over in the penalty area, they're always trying to claim something. Most notably, obviously, a penalty.
Into the last minute of normal time here in the Swope Park Rangers. Getting it forward, Hernandez picks out a good ball for Mbakele. Fakes the shot, gets in behind the defender. It's still in the area. Mbakele tackling it away and out of play. So we're hearing there'll be 2 minutes of added time, and Mbakele mad at himself there. Looked like he was trying to get a shot away.
He certainly feinted well and ghosted past Lawrence Wyke, but Gallagher, as he has done for most of the game, covering the defenders and defending well himself. And Mbakele just let the ball get away from him a little bit too much, allowed Gallagher to pounce.
Fourth official holding up those 2 minutes, and we have moved into added time here in the first half. Is there time for Atlanta to pull back an equalizer, or for the Rangers to double their lead at what would be such a critical time in the game just before halftime? Asiadou. We haven't heard a lot from him in this game. Anderson Asiadou. The Rangers are upset with this foul call here, and it'll be a free kick late on in the first half for Atlanta.
I think that's pretty much the first time you've mentioned Asiadou's name, Carter. Hasn't got into the game at all. That's quite a soft foul as well. I think the game's getting a little bit disjointed at the moment. Michael Radchuk's getting slightly whistle happy. But from Swope Park Rangers' point of view, they can't let their minds wander here. Just a moment before half-time. Stay strong at the back. Pick up their men. Don't let any free runners get onto the ball in the 18-yard box.
Scamp just shouting out directions for his wall. It's 2 in the wall. Curled in with the left foot, bounces in the box and sprays out of play. Well, you never, as a defender, like to see a ball bounce in your own penalty area, but John Poolskamp looks pretty comfortable with where the flight of that ball was headed.
Yeah, he certainly did. He was very calm and cool, Poolskamp, as he has been for most of this game, and as he was in the previous game in his debut.
Training with Bournemouth last season after departing the LA Galaxy Academy. I know those involved, Swope Park Rangers set up with Sporting Kansas City set up, were very excited to be able to get him into the SPR ranks just about a month ago.
Did they get a little early look at him when the US under-18s were training at Pinnacle, I think? Was that the case, Carter?
Might have just well have been. Kept him in the back of their minds. And that is the final act of this first half. The main man, Felipe Hernandez, pouncing inside of 3 minutes on a poor back pass in the back of the Atlanta 2 defense. It's the Hernandez goal that separates these two sides. 1-0 to lead for the Swope Park Rangers as it's halftime here in Kansas City. Stick with us. We'll be back with all the highlights and analysis. Halftime here in Kansas City, Kansas. The Swope Park Rangers leading 1-0 over Atlanta United 2, as a few members of the Sporting Kansas City Academy here watching that first half, and a lot of them were on hand to watch the return of Benny Feilhaber to Children's Mercy Park yesterday, and we had a behind-the-scenes look at Benny Feilhaber in his return to Kansas City.
Easy.
Yeah, this is similar. Remember this part?
And you can't forget those jerseys up there.
No, that's what I'm saying. Brought it back from Swope. We had it. It's just all those jerseys
Up there.
How's that strong knee? Weak, bro. It's coming back though.
2 more months, man. There you go. MVP Benny's back.
I know. Oh man, miss these guys. Miss these guys.
Lab director Chet.
No way.
Yeah.
He's still around?
He is.
Oh yes.
Where is he?
I don't know.
He was the one that like orchestrated the. So he got his nice big office.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. This guy knows what he's doing. I want to be playing on a team that's competitive and fighting for championships, and so I was very excited about the opportunity to come here, and very glad that it happened. And so, yeah, me winding back up here, where I consider the best 5 years of my career, and it's exciting to be part of this group where I think, as much as the team has struggled in the past few games, the quality is there.
Look at Taylor moving up. And Taylor with a beautiful strike. Are you kidding? It's 1-0 in the 12th minute. What can you say about a center back who has... It's loud, and what a rip from Connor Presley. Oh, how's that for an equalizer?
And he decided just to reach his leg out there and see what he could do.
Now North Carolina with a chance. Now a shot by Miller! Stephen Miller with the strike inside the 18, ties this game up at 1 in the 66th minute. Fleming's early ball in. John on the first time! Oh, that is clinical from Adam John! Oh, look at Fleming's and Vaquero just toying with RGV. Breaking in, Kasim! Oh, what a save by Matt Pickens! Got a run from distance, and it's a goal! Pulls with the left and in. And what a save for Van Ogle! Here's a chance for Kasim, who puts it in! Rodriguez returning for Reynolds. His delivery through the penalty area will fall here, and Tessman! What a strike that is from Tanner Tessman, who's equalized for North Texas. Sweet footwork. Gallardo, the attack and the blast, and a goal!
Go at it for Toronto, headed on and in. Beautiful strike there.
Shalani serves it towards the back post. Headed in the back of the net. It's a goal for Lansing Ignite.
Welcome back to halftime at Children's Mercy Park. The Swope Park Rangers leading 1-0 over Atlanta United 2. Let's take a look at the Eastern Conference standings in the USL Championship. Well, Atlanta trying to get up into the playoff places. The win here today, down in 12th place at the moment. The Rowdies off to a fantastic start, undefeated so far for Tampa Bay, and for SPR, it's been a tough start here in 2019.
It's been a really tough start. Obviously, the first team, Sporting Kansas City, have been absolutely beset by injuries, which has a knock-on effect to the Swope Park Rangers. And we mentioned it in commentary as well, Carter. They've only played eight games so far, this being the 9th, of course, today. So if they go on a little run of games, win some of those games in hand, I don't think Paulo Nagamura will be too bothered. What he wants to see is his youngsters full of confidence, and I think today he's getting exactly that, full of confidence. They all want to be on the ball, and they're looking very good, very worthy 1-0 winners at the moment. Of course, it's only so far halfway into the game.
Let's take a look at the stats at halftime, as Swope Park Rangers have been looking pretty good here in the first half, leading by 1-0. And I think the stat that might stand out most is that shots category.
Exactly. I'm very surprised that Atlanta have had 58% of the possession. I thought Swope Park were much the better for possession. But yeah, it's all about those. Firstly, it's all about the goals, 1-0 for Swope Park Rangers, obviously, but the shots and shots on target. John Poolskamp's been incredibly quiet in goal for Swope Park Rangers, largely due to the lack of shots from Atlanta. Only one shot in the whole of that 45 minutes and nothing on target. So that's the reason John Poolskamp's been very quiet. But on the flip side for Swope Park, 3 shots on targets, 8 shots overall. I think they've been very worthy of that 1-0 lead so far, Carter.
Yeah, I agree with you, Matt. The possession number kind of sticks out to me because the Rangers do seem to have been really good on the ball in that first half. But credit to the back line, Graham Smith, and the youngster Kave Rad in his first start of the season.
Yeah, I think
marshalling the back line pretty well so far.
I think the fact that we've hardly mentioned Rad's name speaks, volumes for him, because he hasn't made any mistakes. Lawrence Wyke had only been on the field for about 3 or 4 minutes, and we mentioned his name about 5 times because he gave the ball away twice and picked up a yellow card. Rad and Smith look very solid there together.
Swope Park Rangers playing their first of a couple home games this week, as they are back in action on Wednesday here at Children's Mercy Park against Memphis 901 FC. Will part owner Tim Howard be in attendance at the midweek for Memphis? Probably not, I would guess, but you should be. Go to sportingkc.com/Rangers or SeatGeek to get out here to Children's Mercy Park on Wednesday for the first ever matchup between these two teams. What's going on around the league in the USL Championship? Well, Nashville SC is going to host a couple games at Nissan Stadium. And we saw 19 championship teams advance in the U.S. Open Cup, as that is cranking on into the 3rd round so far. And then Kevon Frater earning the Fans' Choice Goal of the Month for April. And what a goal it was from Kevon Frater. Fantastic skill. Kevon Frater earning Fans Goal of the Month. And here it is, the winner for the month of April for the new side, New Mexico United.
Back post, not it back in. Sandoval is there, so is Hamilton. Loose in front, it's Frater! What a hit! New Mexico equalized in the dying moments. It's a hat trick for Frater. Unbelievable at the lab.
Love the call there, the excitements of Frater capping off his hat trick in that game with the late equalizer and earning the goal of the month for April. Well, Hat Trick Harry is in a good mood so far here at Children's Mercy Park as the Swope Park Rangers lead by 1-0 over Atlanta United 2. We'll be right back with the second half kick. We're back here at Children's Mercy Park getting ready to start the second half as the Swope Park Rangers with a 1-goal advantage, 1-0 over Atlanta United 2 here in Kansas City. And let's take a look at what got us there, the action from the first half, and it's straight off the bat, the Swope Park Rangers capitalizing and taking that 1-goal lead.
Yeah, 2 minutes in, some lapsed defensive play from Atlanta United 2 and a wonderful finish from Felipe Hernandez. Initially he wins the ball, then he gets the ball back on the ricochet, and it's a really cool, calm and collected finish with the inside of his left foot. Didn't think he was going to miss that for a second.
Most of the action was on this side of the field as a tame header from Mbakele off a free kick. Swope Park Rangers had some good free kick situations in that first half.
They did. They had some really good deliveries, and a lot of those deliveries came from Alexander. This is a decent strike from Wilson Harris. I thought initially he should have struck it with his right foot, but a decent strike with the left nonetheless.
And perhaps the second best chance of the game fell to Mark Segbers, just wide on this attempt.
Firstly, he has to hit the target, and secondly, I think he'd expect to score there. He had the goalkeeper beaten at the near post area.
As we saw at halftime, the Rangers out shooting Atlanta in that half by a hefty margin. 8-1 in that first half. Shots for the home side. What can Atlanta 2 do here in the second half to try and get back into this game? Swope Park Rangers looking for just their second win on this young 2019 USL Championship season. Will Little getting some final instructions from Paulo Nagamura. But Atlanta 2 will start with possession here in the second half. Teams switch sides, going from right to left now. Atlanta in the all-white. Pumped up towards the back, and now immediately back in possession with the Rangers. Harris trying to get around a defender there, but it's a good job by Jose Hernandez. And now Samuel, that's a clever turn with the chest. His pass is just a little towards the sideline, so Hernandez has to go and retrieve, and that allows Alexander to get back in and knock it out for a throw.
A decent opening start from Atlanta United too. I think we have to expect that. There have been some stern words from head coach Stephen Glass at halftime.
They didn't create a whole lot in that first half, did they?
No, they have to. They have to make John Pulskamp work. Didn't have a single shot on target in that first half.
Want a little bit more from this man, especially Andrew Carlton. We saw a few glimpses of his talent, but this one he just sprays out of play for a throw-in.
Absolutely spot on, Carter. For a man of his ability, you'd expect him to have a much more positive effect on this game, as we just saw there with his left-footed pass, probably 10 yards off the intended recipient. I think he just has to be more confident, Andrew Carlton, sorry. Also, I think it has been very difficult for him to get into little pockets of space. I think Camden Riley's patrolled the middle of the midfield very, very well in that first half.
Good step there from Smith. Snuff out the danger.
Yeah, let's not forget that Graham Smith's played the last 2 or 3 games for Sporting Kansas City. Game obviously a little bit quicker at that level as well. He'll feel very confident moving down to the Swope Park Rangers.
Well, he played a bunch in the early stages as well. 6 games, all starts, and then, as you mentioned, been away from the Rangers over the past, about 3 weeks or so. Graham Smith, as we take a look at him wearing the captain's armband. And he had a wonderful first half as well, 92% passing. And that's something that he can do very well. We saw him up towards the top of the passing charts in all of USL last season, and now here's a turnover along the back. Mbakele getting in behind off the turnover from Campbell and just letting it drag back, and that's a good recovery from George Campbell, making up for his mistake there. But again, Atlanta too, almost the architects of their own downfall there. Seen that a few times throughout this game.
They have their passes just haven't been on the money. That's why I was surprised with those possession stats in the first half, Carter. 58% to Atlanta. I thought they gave the ball away far more than that in the first half. I thought it was probably about 50-50 in my opinion, but obviously the stats don't lie. We've also seen, I think what Paulo Nagamura was saying to Will Little as well, was he wanted Little and Mbakele to switch flanks, and they have done exactly that. We saw Mbakele on the left-hand side in the first half. He's now moved out onto the right-hand side.
is trying to track this one down. Campbell, and it's a late flag on Mbakele. And that one must have been tight as well because Harris was making the run that dragged the two center backs back. Mbakele in behind the fullback, but it had to have been a tight call just on the other side of the halfway line.
We're pretty much in line here as well, Carter. I didn't think that was offside. Look, the linesman is officially in line with it. We're maybe 5 yards to the left-hand side of him, but it was a very tight call, that's for sure.
Nagamura looking bemused on the near sideline for that offside decision. And now in behind comes Hernandez. Getting onto that left foot, that's a tasty looking cross in towards the back post, and his Segbers has to be alert. He flicks it over behind himself. It's out for Atlanta United corner. Their first of the second half, fourth of the game.
He does well here, Segbers, because he knows he has an Atlanta United 2 player behind him, so he just flicks it away, sends it on its way behind for another corner to Atlanta United 2.
Which is taken quickly and now worked in towards the top of the box. Oh, top of the 6 is a good save from Poolskamp. And then offside on the rebound. That was a well-worked corner for Atlanta. Their first shot on target of the game, and John Poolskamp comes up big.
It is, it's well worked. Clipped into the middle of the goal, and it's met exceptionally well by Campbell on the left foot. Wasn't a great deal of power on it, Carter. I thought Poolskamp maybe could have just held that one, but he parries it well. He parries it to the side as well, not back out in front of him, into the oncoming Russia players.
Not allowing for a rebound attempt there, John Poolskamp. Well, Matt, for Sporting KC fans, that had some shades of a nightmare situation to end the game last night, with the center back coming up with a left-footed volley just outside the 6-yard box.
Same end as well, almost the same position as well. You're right, Cornelius met his left-footed volley very well last night, as did Campbell there.
Zalalem dances around a defender. Oh, a clever pass towards the top of the box. Harris just trying to dribble around his defender. Now Riley picks up the loose pieces and keeps the attack alive for SPR. And Mbakele not afraid to shoot it. It's pounced here for Riley, and he has a go. Can't get that one on target. Would have been offside anyways, Camden Riley.
Camden Riley's thanking the assistant referee just below us for that. Slashed right across the ball there, hit it with the outside of his right foot, skewing a lot wide of the near post. Again, we mentioned it in the first half. When Zalalem had a shot, you have to hit that hard and low across the goalkeeper. Granted, Camden Riley miscued that a lot, but luckily he was offside anyway.
Headed high into the air by Asiadu, and it will track all the way back with Poolskamp.
Yeah, meat and drink for Graham Smith, though, isn't it? Up against Joseph Samuel. He's good in the air anyway, Graham Smith, and Samuel's not great in the air.
Well, we're talking about him before the Rangers got a chance down the other end, Graham Smith, but up towards the top of the league in passing last year in all of the USL Championship. Played holding midfielder in college a lot of the time, did Graham Smith.
And look, you don't break into the Sporting Kansas City first team as a centre-half unless you're confident on the ball, and Graham Smith is certainly that. And he'll be growing in confidence with those MLS appearances as well. You mentioned he had 6 games for Swope Park Rangers before he moved up to Sporting KC. He's come back down again now. I'd imagine the speed of the game seems very easy for him, and he looks very confident out there.
He's had a really good opening 52 minutes here, Graham Smith. Had a chance to talk with him along with Nate Bucati on the Sporting KC show. You can catch that on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. It's a really good listen from Graham Smith. Talked about a lot about his experience with the Swope Park Rangers, playing for Paulo Nagamura, as Poolskamp puts this one out of play. He said, Graham Smith said about Paulo Nagamura that he seems like a quiet guy to the media, soft-spoken to the media, and keeps it internal, but he said he's a fiery coach, just like you could see him as the number 6 out in MLS for over a decade.
Exactly, very quiet off the field until he crosses that white line, certainly as a player, and you can imagine until he crosses the threshold of the dressing room as well. I bet he really opens up.
Smith saying he's enjoying playing under Paulo Nagamura, and also talked about a host of his teammates for the Swope Park Rangers, and he has been very impressed by Alexander, the left back, tucked in just next to Graham Smith along that Swope Park back line for much of this season.
Yeah, they've got a good understanding. Been very impressed with Graham Smith, as I have with Alexander in the games I've watched for Swope Park this season, and also in this afternoon's showing 53.5 minutes in.
There's a loose touch from Hernandez, but it's a loose touch that fools the other Hernandez, Jose. That allows Swope Park Rangers to get past the halfway line. Here's the youngster, Kaveh Rad, confidently striding forward into the middle of the pitch, and he picks out a good ball for Zelalem, who's in acres of space on the left. Zelalem trying to get it in behind for Harris, but George Campbell was alert there. That's asking a lot of Campbell, the goalkeeper. Castanera, Campbell under pressure, does well to find it out to the left-hand side with Mikey Ambrose.
Yeah, the 17-year-old Campbell didn't feel the pressure at all. He's put in a spot of bother by his goalkeeper, that's for certain. Ball was rolled into Campbell. He had 4 Swope Park players approaching him, but Cooley first touched it out to Mikey Ambrose.
And that's kept this attack alive for Atlanta as they move up the pitch. Ambrose trying to curl one in with his left foot in towards Samuel, just over the crossbar. Samuel's header can't test Poolskamp, but better showings already in the first 10 minutes of the second half for Atlanta.
Yeah, and this is absolutely quality delivery from Ambrose, as we see there, and Samuel takes up a good position as well, almost in between the two centre halves. Just pulls off Rad a little bit. Would expect to hit the target there, Rad. Just got a little bit too much underneath the ball. But as I say, a lot of that is down to the quality delivery from Mikey Ambrose.
First time forward by Ambrose and into the feet of Rad. 17-year-old, of course, his brother, we saw him in the crowd there, Jahan, also has made a few appearances for the Swope Park Rangers. Both of them coming from Durham, North Carolina into the SKC Academy. It's a bit of a North Carolina pipeline for Sporting Kansas City, the likes of Jalen Lindsay and Gianluca Busio, along with the Rad brothers. Zelalem, not fooled by Fernando there, wins back possession for the Rangers. Spreads it out to the right-hand side, Mbakele. Back with Zelalem. Mbakele's taken down. The referee just going to play advantage there. And lazily over on the left side, Will Little and Alexander combining for that one to go out of play for a throw-in. Here is that collision just moments ago, as it's left Andrew Carlton in a heap here.
Yeah, so they're sore, those ones, Carter. That's a clash of knees there.
That is not going to feel good for either of those guys. Looks like Carlton has come off the worst for wear.
Yeah, I think it's almost because it was the front of the kneecap of Mbakele and the side of that knee from Andrew Carlton. That's a really sore one.
It was the second substitution of the game. Of course, it was an injury in the first half that forced Tyler Ruthven off, but now Luis Fernando will be withdrawn. Well, he led the team in shots coming into this game, Fernando. 13 chances created on the season, was second on the team. He was second on the team in minutes, but the only Atlanta 2 player to play every game. Just not the best outing here from Luis Fernando. Didn't hear a lot of him in these opening 50 minutes or so.
No, not at all. Relatively anonymous this afternoon for Fernando, but that happens with younger players all across the world. Have a good game one week and then not so good game the next week. It's all about consistency for these young players, and it's not easy playing such long seasons.
He's replaced by Gordon Wild, who is on loan from Atlanta United, from Leonberg, Germany. Making his 4th appearance of the season, there is Gordon Wild trying to chase down this ball down the left inside channel. Poolskamp will get there ahead of him and play it up the pitch. A couple of high boots there from both Zelalem and Ambrose, so the referee lets them play on. And now Lawrence Weick will stride forward. Rad heads it back to Wyke. He'll prod it out to the right side. Right-footed cross. And Smith will head it back from whence it came.
And you've said that a few times, haven't you? Graham Smith meeting the ball with his head in the penalty area. Positions himself very well, Graham Smith.
There was good positioning from Wyke and just getting a toe to that one ahead of the onrushing Wilson Harris. Again, both center backs for this Atlanta team are on yellow cards, so Wyke had to be very careful there. Had to get that sliding challenge right, and he just about did. Poolskamp under the pressure from Carlton will try and smash this one over the back line, but Ambrose is well under that one. There's a loose touch from Asiadou, and that is a nasty challenge from Asiadou as well. It's a foul against the midfielder for Atlanta. Wilson Harris, he's taken his fair share of knocks up top for SPR here this afternoon.
Just let that first touch get away from him there, Asiadou. Big, strong lad, though, Wilson Harris. Just jumped up. Good to see.
And McKaylee working in from the left-hand side to get his shot away, which isn't going to trouble anyone other than the ball kids. Get updates and alerts all year long by following your club on ESPN.com. Search for Swope Park Rangers, click follow, and keep up with the latest news and scores. Plus, get reminders on the Rangers' next match. Go to ESPN.com now and click follow for your club. There's some nervy moments along the back again from Atlanta United there. They've done well to keep possession. Carlton trying to let that drift across his body, but Zelalem was there. This time Zelalem is hefty in on that challenge. That's an easy foul call right under the watchful eye of Michael Radchuk.
Yeah, simple decision there for the foul from Zelalem on George Campbell. Both Campbell and Lawrence Wyke have really grown into the game in this second half. Both of them looking more and more comfortable carrying the ball out of defence.
Captain Jack Metcalf picking that one up. Wilson Harris getting in the passing lanes, mucking it up. And it bounces for Zelalem. That's a good tackle by Asiadou. And good work from Samuel, who now pops up to his feet, gets back on the ball, and has a go from distance that's drifting wide. Poolskamp looked like he had that one covered and was comfortable allowing it to drift in behind for a goal kick.
Yeah, Poolskamp definitely had that one covered. Went down to his right-hand side anyway, just in case there was any late swerve on the ball. Correct thing to do for the goalkeeper. Just as we're seeing Swope Park Rangers make their first substitution.
It'll be the end of the afternoon for Jerome Mbakele. Not his most active afternoon for the Swope Park Rangers. And he's replaced by Sean Karani, the 18-year-old from the SKC Academy out of Wichita, Kansas. Sean Karani making his 5th appearance, all substitute appearances. He's had just 92 minutes so far this season, so this will be a good run out for Sean Karani. So we've played just over an hour here in Kansas City, Kansas.
We talked about it a couple of times, Carter, about young players. It's tough for them to have consistency throughout the season, and then consistency as well over a 90-minute period as well. I think Mbakele was very good in the opening half an hour. He had a couple of good cross-field passes, had a couple of good one-on-one attempts against the right-back, John Gallagher. But he's just let his levels dip a little bit in this second half, and no surprise to see him going off. And Sean Karani, as you say, gets virtually half an hour now to show what he can do.
The youngster, here he is, coming through the SKC Academy, and looks like he will take the place on the left wing for the time being. This one's over the head of Segbers, and so in behind is Wild. Ball just checked up on the bounce, slowed down Gordon Wild, and now Segbers is able to nip back in. There's a hefty challenge from Asiadou. Zelalem goes flying and eventually played out of bounds, and a hand up from Gordon Wild there because it looked like he might be in behind for a second, Mark Segbers.
He was in behind, he should have been. It was just his first touch let him down. credit Mark Segbers for getting back into position. Initially, let the ball go over his head, and Gordon Wild should have been away. Gordon Wild had a great season last season on loan at Charleston Battery. He's got a number of goals for him, 7 goals I think he got last season. He'd fully have expected to be away and at the races.
That's good play along the right-hand side, and now it's clipped in towards the back post. Wild knocks it down in the area. Carlton trying to get a shot away, but Zelalem is there, and he just smashes this out of play.
Yeah, and sometimes you don't have to be pretty, even playing for Swope Park Rangers.
It's a wonderful run down the right by John Gallagher.
And Gordon Wild does well to nod the ball back into the path of Carlton. Zelalem reacts first, and as you say, does nothing more than hoof it into the stand.
Asiadu, clever cutback, dragging it back for Carlton, but Segbers gets in. Just ahead of Carlton, both players looking like they were injured on that play, and Carlton upset with himself. That was a clever slip pass, disguised well as well by Asiadu.
It's a lovely little ball, reverse ball there from Asiadu. But great positional play from Segbers as well. He doesn't actually play the ball, but just gets his body in between the ball and Carlton.
Looks like he'll be okay. Mark Segbers, just a tough landing there on his shoulder, and also Carlton landing on his head.
Yeah. The only thing that hurts Carlton is his pride, isn't it? He would have expected to make more of that. But let's credit Segbers. Got back into position very well. Made life incredibly difficult for Carlton. Good to see that they're both okay as well.
We're calling for Anderson Asiadu to maybe make himself more of a presence after pretty anonymous first half. He's definitely popped up with some moments of class in the second. And right on cue, he finds a good pass out to Andrew Carlton, who trying to sky this switch, and Alexander's able to get under it. Karani, that's a dangerous one back to Graham Smith, who just elects to try and kick that up towards Wilson Harris. Good 1-2 to create some space. Metcalf will try and slip Gallagher in behind. Good sliding tackle from Karani out of play for an Atlanta 2 throw-in.
Atlanta United 2 very much coming to the fore at the moment, aren't they, Carter? Been much more the dangerous of the two sides this last 5 or 10 minutes. I think the introduction of Gordon Wild's really helped on this left-hand side as well.
Now up towards Wild into the area. His first touch beyond the goalkeeper, trying to slide it back for Samuel. What a block! Graham Smith, the captain, with the captain's intervention there for the Swope Park Rangers.
And that one hurt him, that's for certain. He's just gone down on his haunches. Thought the referee was going to stop the play as the ball was just out for a throw-on. Atlanta United 2 carrying on the attack.
Cross in for Smith. That's an awkward header. And I think he might have tried to clear that with his feet if it wasn't still hurting from that block challenge.
Exactly, and that's certainly not what he intended. He tried to meet the ball almost on the half volley with his head and head it forward. Instead, it came off the back of his head and nearly beat John Poolskamp at the far post. Luckily, just a couple of yards wide.
Here's that challenge from a moment ago when Gordon Wild had gotten in behind, and Atlanta United right on the doorstep here.
It's a first touch from Gordon Wild. Just took him a little bit wide, but as the ball's rolled back to Samuel, Smith gets himself into position. That's a wonderful block from him, but it hurt him. I was about to say that was Matt Beasler-esque. It really was there from Graham Smith, playing in the same position as the Sporting KC captain, Matt Beasler, left centre half, wearing the captain's armband himself as well, Graham Smith, for Swope Park Rangers. He certainly won't want to come off, that's for sure. He's enjoying himself out there, 67 minutes into this game.
Wound up being an awkward clearance there for Smith, and it's resulted in this corner, which is taken short by Atlanta 2. Back for Wild, curling it in towards the penalty spot. It's alive on the edge of the box. That is a spectacular finish, and the equalizing goal from Lawrence Wyke, his second in 2 games. What a hit.
Hey, look, he had an incredibly difficult opening few minutes when he came on for Tyler Ruthven, probably about 55 minutes ago. But this is a glorious finish from a centre half. This is a glorious finish for a centre forward. Look how he meets this with his left foot. It's normally the standing foot of most right centre halves, but he meets this with aplomb. Lawrence Wyke, nothing John Poelskamp can do about that. Great finish from the centre half.
Atlanta 2 right back in this one. 1-1 now. Hernandez trying for an immediate riposte in behind for Harris. That's a clumsy challenge from Campbell. Nothing given by the referee. Heard shouts from the SPR bench.
Well, Campbell certainly didn't play the ball, that's for sure. Got nowhere near the ball. Michael Radchuk was right on the spot, though. He's a lot closer than we are. Give him his due. He's in a good position, the referee. Not too many protestations from Wilson Harris either.
Always a good indicator. This is Swope Park Rangers immediately after conceding right up the pitch and action in the box. It's an interesting one to say the least. It's a wild challenge from Campbell, who's already on a yellow card.
I think that's a penalty card, so I think that should be given as a penalty. I think if we had VAR here in the USL Championship, that would be given a penalty. No need for Campbell to make that challenge. Wilson Harris is running away from goal. Can't get a shot off from that angle. But again, that's what happened. 17 years old, inexperienced centre-half. No need to go diving in there. I think he got away with one.
And that's the last act of the game for Wilson Harris, as he is withdrawn for Ethan Vanacore-Decker for the Swope Park Rangers, who, after leading for over an hour, have just conceded through a wonderful strike by Lawrence Wyke. Got his first professional goal last weekend in the 1-1 against Bethlehem Steel, and now getting his second goal on the trot.
And that was a quality finish as well, Carter. Quality finish from anybody, let alone a centre-half. Maybe doing him a disservice, as you say. He's got 2 in 2 now. Scored 7 goals in 2018 for Furman University as well. Certainly knows where the back of the net is.
Vanacore-Decker gets on his horse, and Hernandez spots the run. Trying to split 2 defenders there. Vanacore-Decker goes to ground, and again, nothing seen as a foul by the man in the middle. There's a good leap from Rad and a good, well-placed header as well. Poelskamp. Boy, he hits a heavy ball. Vanacore-Decker's header will trickle all the way back to Dylan Castanera. Fans, the USL unveiled its elite youth platform, USL Academy. This allows clubs at all levels across the USL to develop local youth and compete at the highest level across the United States, including the USL Academy Cup. For more information, visit uslsoccer.com/academy.
Certainly Carter, Atlanta United have been the better side in the last 15 or 20 minutes. We said the introduction of Gordon Wild has helped them. He played a part in that goal as well for Lawrence Wyke.
Karani making a run past a defender, still in the box. Karani lays it off for Vanacore-Decker. What a save! Still in the box. Zelalem has a goal. That's blocked. Zelalem now nodding it towards Vanacore-Decker. And Atlanta 2 can just about get this one clear. Riley with a lunging tackle. He'll go into the pocketbook. It's a yellow card on Cameron Riley as he upends Andrew Carlton. A sore one for Carlton, but a wonderful chance for the Swope Park Rangers that comes through Sean Karani on the left wing.
Great wing play from Karani. He's only just come on the pitch, as has Vanacore-Decker, who I think if it had been on for 10 more minutes and a bit more up with the pace of the game, would have expected to score.
And as Atlanta get it out, Carlton does a good job shielding that one. And
can't have any complaints there, Camden Riley. It wasn't a great challenge, a lunging challenge on Andrew Carlton. I think he would have fully expected to go in the notebook as he does.
And this stoppage of play as trainer Jake Brownback takes a look at Mark Segbers will allow for the final substitution. Jackson Conway going to check in. He will replace Mikey Ambrose, and this is an interesting one as it's the left back Mikey Ambrose being replaced by Jackson Conway, who started up top in the last game for Atlanta 2. Just Just have to see how this rearranges the Atlanta side with just over 15 minutes to play here in regular time.
Yeah, Conway, we would have thought an out-and-out centre forward, has a great goal-scoring record for Atlanta United Academy and for Georgia United before he moved to the Atlanta United Academy. Can't believe that he's going to play anywhere else other than that number 9 position.
Well, he's already walked his way up towards the number 9 spot. Jackson Conway, the 17-year-old, 6'2", out of Atlanta.
Well, let's hope Stephen Glass hasn't told him to go and play left back anyway. But no, it looks like Jack Metcalf has gone and sat in that left position, taking the place of Mikey Ambrose, number 4, the skipper for Atlanta United too.
Good versatility from the captain, and we saw him start at right back in the last outing against Bethlehem Steel. So here he is over to the left-hand side. That allows for the introduction of Jackson Conway, who's got just over 15 minutes to make an impact on this game. If he can make an impact like Lawrence White did off the bench, his coach Stephen Glass will be very happy. Segber's sprinting back on the field after getting that left shoulder checked out. I think those are remnants of that challenge inside his own area, Mark Segbers.
Yeah, I think you're right. He certainly was holding that shoulder, wasn't he, when he went over. When he played Andrew Carlton very well, just leaving Carlton out of the way of the ball in the penalty area moments ago.
There's Conway's first touch, just trying to lay it off into the path of Gallagher, and Smith comes over to shield it out of play. He's been able to carry on, Graham Smith. Good news for the Swope Park Rangers, that's for sure.
Still very much playing in a 4-2-3-1 formation, Atlanta United. Just jig things around a little bit. Conway playing centre forward. Samuel's gone out to play on the right-hand side of the 3, in behind the centre forward Conway. And as we've said, Metcalf, native of Liverpool, has gone to play at left back. And as you mentioned, Carter, left back today, played right back in the last game. Started off the game in the holding midfield position. Oldest player on the pitch at only 27 years of age, but very experienced. Had 4 years at Clemson, a couple of years with Charlton Independence. Played a year back in Wales with Bangor City as well. I don't think he's going to be phased whether he's playing left back, right back, holding midfield.
There's a left back for the Rangers. Stepping in front of that, and it'll be another throw for Atlanta. Carlton swiveling on the ball. It's a wayward pass from Conway. And then from White. And Karani will just draw him in, lure him into committing that foul, and that allows SPR to push up the pitch, as Atlanta 2 definitely has come out with a good response here in this second half.
Yeah, they have. They're struggling to have any passages of possession at the moment, SPR.
Brad reads the situation, slips it inside for Segbers, but Segbers was just trying to play it in from behind for Vanderkoor-Decker, and that's opened up a counterattack here for Atlanta 2. Wild looking for the ball in behind, and just out of the reach of Jackson Conway there.
It's exactly what he's trying to do, just arc the ball around the back of the Swope Park Rangers defence into the path of Conway. Just overhits it slightly, a little bit too much pace on it.
Just not quite enough spin to drag it back into the path of Conway there.
Very good idea, though, it really was. The right idea, just not the right execution.
Siadu cutting it back to the left now with Metcalf playing in that left back position. Bit of a wayward touch, but recovering nicely and playing it over the top was Hernandez. Little just about keeps that one in play. Wonderful skill from Carlton under the watchful eye of Felipe Hernandez.
Yeah, a little bit of glue on the right foot of his boot there from Andrew Carlton. Took that out of the air so well.
Now in behind Wild, who is offside. Just trying to run in behind there, Gordon Wild, and far side assistant referee raises his flag.
There's not many experienced heads out there for Swope Park Rangers, but somebody has really got to get on the ball and demand more out of their teammates as well. Have to have a decent passage of possession here. not give the ball away as they just have here with Camden Riley.
Atlanta, too, have increased their possession here in the second half up to 60% on the game.
Yeah, whereas in the first half I was surprised by the possession stats. Atlanta United 2 having 58% possession. I'm not surprised at all. They've increased it here in this second half. They've been the better side in the majority of this second half.
Zalalem over to Little. He's done well to keep that in play and around the defender. Loose touch from Zalalem and lazy on the second attempt too, and that allows Wild to nip in. Wild now getting the return from Conway. You see, he wants it on that left foot at all times, Gordon Wild.
Yeah, certainly no surprise that he's playing on the left flank, is there?
It's a good ball. And for Gallagher, and now he's charging into the area, trying to put it along the edge of the 6. Brad is there and just puts that out of his area, out of danger. Pressure mounting for the visitors.
And I've liked his ability and athleticism down the right-hand side, John Gallagher. Yes, an attacking player in college for Notre Dame University. Yes, an attacking player last year for Atlanta United too. Now converted to a right back. I think he's doing a very good job there, Nate. Carter, sorry.
Wow, unbelievable from Matt Lawrence. Certainly not the first time that we've seen John Gallagher charging up that right flank for this Atlanta 2 side. Now it's a corner kick on that side, and it's the left back, the captain, going over to take this. Curling it towards the 6. It's a wonderful delivery, and met in the air as well by George Campbell. He can't quite get the header on frame, but a decent chance for Atlanta.
It is, just gets underneath it again. Doesn't get his forehead on it, throws his head at it, but gets underneath it. Hits the top of his head and goes over the crossbar.
Good outswing and delivery there from the captain, Jack Metcalf. We're into the final 10 minutes of regulation here. Atlanta 2, who had 1 shot at halftime, now up to 9 on the game. And the Swope Park Rangers knows their way back in front here. They've had some tough sledding here in the second half, after what was perhaps one of the better halves of the season for the Rangers. Karani, some fancy footwork, and he's found Zalalem in a good bit of space. Zalalem over for Will Little, and it's a tackle from Metcalf out of play. It'll be a corner for the Swope Park Rangers.
First touch from Little there, just a little bit loose. Allowed Metcalf just to poke that behind for a corner.
Which Alexander gets into Hernandez quickly, floating it up for Smith. It was a decent targeted attempt, but well marshaled by Dylan Castanera, the goalkeeper. Comes up and claims it, and it was 2-on-2 there from that defensive set piece for Atlanta, but they can't keep possession. Top of the box, Riley trying to head it over the back line. Couldn't quite get it out to Sean Karani. Metcalf being watched by Little. He sprays it over again. Gallagher, who is getting forward at every opportunity. Gordon Wild trying to curl her. That wasn't too far high and wide of the goal of John Poolskamp there.
No surprise that he's cut back onto his left foot. Here it is, cuts onto that favoured left foot, tries to curl it into the far corner. Almost Carlos Vela-esque there. Cutting inside, trying to curl it into the far corner.
You can see he was looking over his left shoulder that entire time, just looking for some space to get it onto that favoured left peg.
Got to tough this one out now, Swope Park Rangers, haven't they, in the final 7 minutes of regulation time, bound to be 3 or 4 minutes of additional time as well.
Karani drawing a foul. He's been lively since coming on, Sean Karani.
Yeah, He has every opportunity. He's been trying to get forward. Obviously, John Gallagher's been running him back the other way an awful lot as well. But he does look a very tricky and lively winger when he gets on the ball, Sean Karani.
Set piece now, Alexander floating it in again, looking for Graham Smith. That's an easy one for Castanera to claim inside his own penalty spot.
You never like that as a centre-half, certainly not in the 83rd minute as well. You trot up 80 yards from centre-half. Left back clips it into the arms of the goalkeeper, and the goalkeeper smashes it upfield. You have to trot 80 yards back again, or probably sprint 80 yards back.
Yeah, sprint back the other way. Now Karani in behind, into the area. Karani slides it across the 6 and got a touch. It'll be out of play for a corner here, or will it? No, it's a goal kick. Apologies. What a chance that is for the Swope Park Rangers, and it goes begging.
Just nobody gambling, Carter. I thought that's a good ball from Karani, really dangerous along the top of the 6-yard box. Very unfortunate that nobody was on the front foot, bearing down on the Atlanta United 2 goal.
Is that the right decision from Karani, as maybe he could have been a little more unselfish there as he had slipped in behind the back line. Like you said, just trying to get it across the face of goal. Well, this one's played over to the right-hand side. It was a substitution for the Swope Park Rangers. Atlanta are furious as they wanted an advantage there. Carlton had played a good ball into space for Joseph Samuel, and I think they have a reason to be aggrieved here, Atlanta too.
And the referee's trying to talk himself out of trouble here by saying, oh, I had to give the yellow card, but he could easily go back and issue it retrospectively. He has to just hold the whistle just a second or two to see how the play progresses.
It's Sean Karani that's gone into the books here, but take a look at this. It's definitely a foul. Sean Karani coming through John Gallagher, but that pass there from Carlton had put Joseph Samuel into a really good position in the attack for Atlanta.
It's not easy being out there in the middle, Carter, refereeing games, but just have to let the play go on for 2 or 3 seconds. That's what the new, the advantage rule is there for.
Now a foul against Felipe Hernandez. Not easy to be the 4th official either, as he's been getting an earful from Stephen Glass, the coach on the near side, and also from the captain, Jack Metcalf, on the near side. Here's that foul against Felipe Hernandez. Just about there, tugging back on the shirt of Asiadu. And you saw there in the picture, there's another foul. They're starting to tot up against the Swope Park Rangers. Carlton now winning a free kick in a very advantageous position. Just quickly, there's a substitution that I haven't talked about. Killian Columbi checking in for Will Little for the Swope Park Rangers. But this is a tasty spot for Atlanta too. Just under 5 minutes remaining here in regulation as well.
Almost dead center this. 19.5, 20 yards out from goal. John Paul's camp has to set up a big wall. I would imagine a 5 or 6 man wall. And then he has to make sure he isn't beating the other side. If a player's good enough to get the ball up, over and back down into the net, over the wall, you just have to accept that sometimes. He has to protect his side of the goal. Also see Atlanta United 2 have put 2 of their players in the wall. Swope Park Rangers have got to get 2 players behind those Atlanta United 2 players, because they will split, they will move the wall.
Long line of players, including 5 on one side, 2 Atlanta players and 2 on the other side for the Swope Park Rangers.
It's tough for the goalkeeper here. He's almost unsighted as well.
And a host of interested Atlanta players standing over the ball, 4 of them in close proximity. It's Gallagher going low, and the wall does its job. Hernandez and Karani deflecting that one out for a corner.
Exactly as you said, the wall did its job. Stood up tall, stood up brave.
And Gallagher just showing how close that free kick was into goal as well. Like you said, would take some quality to get it up and down. So the corner now in towards the front post. Hernandez wins it. It's a good flicked header from Karani. And what an inventive touch from Alex, and he's put himself into space. Alexander trying to curl it in behind the last defender, and that man comes up huge for Atlanta. It's Anderson Asiadu.
Asiadu's done fantastically well there to get back into position. It's a great touch there with the outside of his left foot from Alexander.
Quickly taking corner, Hernandez in for Camden Riley. Colombi able to put this back out for Hernandez. Curling it in towards the box, and it's a good claim for Castanera. It's a poor kick out. Might have taken a deflection even, but it's bounced nicely. And then on the ground, Segbers gets another touch to it. What looked like it was going to be a 3-on-1 for Atlanta, now going the other way. This is opening up here in the last minutes. Vanacore-Decker cutting it back, and it's defended well. Out of play. It's a throw-in on the near side.
That's top quality centre forward play there from Vanacore-Decker. Does the right thing, gets to the byline and chops it back. But once again, good defending from Lawrence Wyke.
So Lawlins passes a little loose, and it allows for Gordon Wild to take it away. Now Segbers wins back possession high up the pitch. Segbers into the box, floating this one up, and it wound up being a tricky one for Castanera, but he's able to get onto it. And again, a good delivery. This time Wild streaking forward. Cutting it back on the left. Gordon Wild looking for the shot. Sliding tackle, and a huge challenge there from Killian Colombi, and it's left Gordon Wild in a lot of pain.
There was a lot of ball there from Colombi, but nowadays the studs were showing, but the referee again's right on the spot.
Clipped in towards the 6. Rad heads it straight up into the sky, and that header back towards John Poolskamp. Here's that sliding tackle from Killian Colombi. It's a close one, like you said. A lot of studs showing there. Seemed to get a lot of the ball, but that won't do Gordon Wild any favors.
No one. Look, it's a good, strong challenge, but nowadays you do have to be careful. I think he was under control, though. It wasn't a reckless challenge.
Looked like he was trying to slide in to block that shot.
Exactly. I think it's just about the right side of the law there.
As you said, anytime you show that many studs, running the risk of leaving it up to the referee, as we are into 4 minutes of added time. Graham Smith just being attended to as well.
It's not going to come off now, though, is he, Graham Smith?
Swope Park Rangers have made all 3 of their substitutions, all 3 of them up top. And here's just that foul, which actually was a yellow card in the end to Jackson Conway. You can see why that's given as a yellow card.
You definitely can, yeah. He's have to obviously go off the field of play as well, Graham Smith. I'm sure he's just suffered a little cut as well. We wanted to get that patched up as soon as possible with just a few minutes remaining, just 2.5 minutes remaining of the additional time. Now there'll be a little bit extra added to that as well.
Yeah, pretty much all of the additional time has been with the ball out of play, as Graham Smith has been attended to for the past 60, 90 seconds or so.
Going back to the Conway yellow, yes, a yellow. I don't think there was a great deal of malice there. He did lead with the elbow, but no real intent, I didn't think. Certainly did warrant the yellow card that he received.
It's a loose touch, and Hernandez pounces, trying to float it in behind the back line. Karani taking a shove in the back. Well, Lawrence Wyke is upset, but it was a pretty easy decision for the referee, just overzealous coming through the back of Sean Karani.
Easy decision, and let's not forget Lawrence Wyke has now committed at least 2 or 3 fouls after being on the yellow card from when he first came on the field of play in that first half. He has to be incredibly careful.
He's pointing to his shoulder there, the referee saying it doesn't matter when the shoulder's going into the back of the other player.
Yeah, shoulder to shoulder is one thing, but yeah, shoulder to back's completely different, and obviously a foul.
And unfortunately for the Swope Park Rangers, their best target on these set-piece situations, Graham Smith, is still out of play. He's got a bit of a Ninja Turtles headband now after that, taking that elbow. You can hear the far side AR saying he has to check Graham Smith and that there's still too much blood. Just taking some time to get this free kick back into play, and it'll be without Graham Smith. So Alexander standing over this with his left foot, just a couple of Swope Park Rangers in the area. Towards Riley at the edge of the box. Smith trots back on, so it's full strength for the Rangers now. Hernandez faking the pass, now standing it up for Decker. Good defensive header, Metcalf.
Yeah, showing all his experience there. Metcalf at the back post, positioned himself perfectly.
Asiadu livid with Gordon Wild there after he had done so well. Decker and Karani just getting mixed up in their own way there as the Rangers look like they might be able to win that just around the 18-yard box. Well, this game is really opened up here in the final 5 to 10 minutes. And be sure to tune in on Wednesday, May 22nd at 7 Central for the Wednesday night soccer game of the week. League newcomers Birmingham Legion welcome Nashville FC. It is May 22nd, 7 p.m. on ESPN News. Hernandez chests this one down. Cutting it back onto the right foot. Hernandez trying to find a shot, couldn't get it away. So he lays it off for Riley. He's found a good pass on the left side. Zelalem. Step overs onto the right foot. Zelalem cutting it back for Riley. Edge of the area, Camden Riley blocked away. Lawrence White converging on that one with a couple other Atlanta players to snuff out the danger. And now Andrew Carlton with a good sliding pass forward for Gallagher. He pushes it into the area. Gallagher along the edge of the 6. And just past Jackson Conway. End-to-end stuff here at Children's Mercy Park.
Such good play from Gallagher. Once again, the overlapping right back.
3 Atlanta players can't get to that cross.
Almost too well hit the cross from Gallagher. If it had just fed it into that area with a little less pace, a little less fizz, I'm sure one of the Atlanta United 2 players could have got on the end of it.
Carlton dancing around, a player trying to curl this. Well, not far away, Andrew Carlton from a last gasp winner here for Atlanta 2.
Looked very confident here, Carlton, didn't he? Just trying to feed that to the left-hand side of John Poolskamp's goal. A good couple of yards wide. I thought it was a little closer than that.
Well past the 4 minutes of added time. Of course, that Graham Smith injury has pushed us here into the 96th. Still time, perhaps, for the Swope Park Rangers, and there is a lunging tackle. That's a Hernandez on Hernandez crime there, and Jose will go into the referee's pocketbook. A yellow card for Jose Hernandez. But maybe not the worst thing if you're an Atlanta 2 fan or Stephen Glass on the bench.
I think this is a very good foul, I really do. He was breaking at speed, Hernandez. He had 4 or 5 bodies as well, up in conjunction with him from Swope Park Rangers. I think he had to take the yellow, Hernandez. Hernandez of the Jose variety.
The away side Hernandez goes into the book to stop that counter-attack. This might be the last action of the game here. Alexander floating this one in all the way past everybody. Karani makes a decent attempt at it, a valiant attempt, but it's into the arms of Dylan Castanera, and that will end what was an entertaining outing here between these 2 sides. 1-1 the final score. Matt Lawrence, what do you make of it?
Well, I think 1-1 was the fair result, Carter, I really do. I thought Swope Park Rangers were much the better in the first half, but I think Atlanta United 2 really came into it in the second half. I think they were the better side. They had about 8 or 9 shots in this second half, if not more than that. It probably into double figures in the second half. And I thought the introduction of Gordon Wild on the left-hand side really pushed them forward, gave them a bit of a spirit down this left-hand side. And I think Atlanta United 2 will consider themselves a little unlucky that they maybe didn't nick a winner at the death there with that wonderful cross from John Gallagher, who was absolutely rampaging down the right-hand side for the whole 90 minutes, well, for the whole 95 minutes, Carter. But what a wonderful game of USL Championship football. It really was. The last 10, 15 minutes, very much end-to-end stuff. I'm not sure that's exactly what Stephen Glass and Paulo Nagamura would want. They'd want a bit more stability and a bit more focus and maybe a bit more mental strength from their players. But let's not forget, the majority of the players on show are sort of 23 years of age and under as well. It's tough to be consistent happened, as I said during the game, in throughout a season, or throughout 90 minutes rather, let alone a whole season. So I think we've seen a really good showing of football here from a bunch of very talented youngsters.
Yeah, a lot of young talent on display here in an entertaining, enthralling 1-1 draw between the Swope Park Rangers and Atlanta United 2. Stick with us. We'll be right back to get you all the highlights from what has been a fantastic game here at Children's Mercy Park. Point split here in Kansas City, Kansas at Children's Mercy Park. A 1-1 final score between the Swope Park Rangers and Atlanta United 2. Really fun and fascinating watch here in Kansas City, Kansas, as Swope Park Rangers move up to their 6th point of the season. Atlanta United 2 up to their 12th point in the early stages of this USL Championship season. Here are the full-time stats between the Swope Park Rangers and Atlanta United 2. What sticks out to you, Matt Lawrence?
Well, the fact that Atlanta United 2 had 10 shots in that second half. I know only 2 of them were on target, but they were dominant in terms of possession and shots in that second half, which is why I think a 1-1 result is a fair score.
Fair result here between two youthful and exciting sides to watch, the Swope Park Rangers and Atlanta United 2. It was a fun one for Hat-Trick Harry and the young fans in attendance. Got started with an early goal from Felipe Hernandez, his 4th of the season, before Atlanta United 2 got the equalizing goal in the second half through a wonderful strike by Lawrence Wyke. Well, for Jordan Burrell, Dan McCaffrey, Jason Briley, Wyatt Craven, Keaton McGuire, Paul Stokes, Joey Reed, Nolan Woodford, Jacob Orlowski, Jaron Seelig, and Maggie Blair. Of course, the legend Brad Zimmerman, alongside Gannon Cornley and Matt Lawrence here in the booth. I'm Carter Augustine. Thanks for watching. Final score here, 1-1 between the Swope Park Rangers and Atlanta United 2.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League Championship cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the expressed written consent of the United Soccer League Championship.
That was good. Oh, no.